Good evening and welcome to the BBC News at 10 live from Kyiv, where an American president has made an extraordinary visit to an active war zone. Joe Biden's trip here was short on time, just a couple of hours, but long on symbolism ahead of the first anniversary of the Russian invasion of this country. He said America would stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes and praised the Ukrainian troops' heroic fighting, while pledging another $500 million of military aid. Speaking while air raid sirens were going off, he added that President Putin's war of conquest was failing. Our first report tonight comes from our international editor, Jeremy Bowen, on a historic day in this year-long war.
The air raid alarm, as the two presidents arrived at St. Michael's Church, where Ukraine commemorates its war dead, felt too well timed to be a coincidence. With unprecedented security in Kyiv, the Americans had warned the Kremlin that Joe Biden was coming. He just arrived from a long train journey and a point was being made. Ukraine was still under attack. Its most powerful ally was there in an active war zone to show its leader support. President Biden told the people running Ukraine's war that this is where he wanted to be in the days leading up to the first anniversary of Russia's attempt to extinguish Ukraine's independence. President Zelensky knows Ukraine's future depends on America and Joe Biden.
We can and must make this year, 2023, the year of victory. And I want to emphasize that this unprovoked and criminal Russian war against Ukraine, the whole of Europe and the democratic world must end with the clearing of all Ukrainian land from Russian occupation and firm guarantees of long-term security for both our country and the whole of Europe and the whole world.
Putin's war of conquest is failing. Russia's military has lost half its territory it once occupied. Young, talented Russians are fleeing by the tens of thousands, not wanting to come back to Russia. He thought he could outlast us. I don't think he's thinking that right now.
Strong support, but the Ukrainians want more than words. They want war-winning weapons.
The hard reality of Russian aggression has forced NATO leaders, and especially President Biden, into a series of difficult decisions. The biggest so far may be looming. Ukraine doesn't just want weapons that will allow it to survive, it wants to win the war. And up to now, that is a level of help that President Biden has not been prepared to grant.
The Ukrainians are pressing for a decisive upgrade as soon as possible. Time might not be their friend.
The cost that Ukraine has had to bear has been extraordinarily high. And the sacrifices have been far too great. They've been met, but they've been far too great.
Ukraine doesn't release casualty figures, not as high as Russia's, but still in the tens of thousands. The Russians are bleeding another generation of Ukrainian fighters. That is a big reason why President Zelensky wants urgently to convince Joe Biden to help Ukraine win, not just hold steady in a long war of attrition. The wall commemorates the dead of the earlier fighting with Russia that started in 2014. Each flag represents a life lost in the last 12 months. The Kremlin believes it will win a trial of endurance. Ukraine doesn't want to wait to find out. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Kyiv.